Good evening, everyone. I'm the official navigator of Beyond the Frame Festival, Uka Todoki. This is Japan's first ever international film festival specializing in VR film. And we're starting today. Thank you for joining us. Applause. At this film festival, a selection of VR movies made around the world are being streamed online. And starting from tonight till the award ceremony on Sunday the 21st for 10 days, we're hosting talk sessions pretty much every night and streaming them live and later from our archives. On the final day, at the award ceremony, 3 works will be awarded. And the jury members of these prestigious awards are film director Shion Sono and writer and painter Eli Omiya and brand consultant and president of Speedy Inc., Atsushi Fukuda. That's a gorgeous lineup. And our ambassador, also with us at tonight's event, is Kom-ai. And we'll be hearing from her later. And I'm the official navigator of this film festival, Uka Todoki. As a resident of this virtual world, I'll be cheering on the evolution of various VR expressions. And all the events of this film festival will be simultaneously translated into English and Japanese. Please click on the globe icon at the bottom right and choose either English or Japanese. Now let me give you some basic information about our film festival. First, let's introduce the works we're streamlining. Video on. So I'd like to introduce the works. And the competition works are MOBE, Go Home, First Step, From Earth to Moon, Replacements, Gravity, VR, and there are lots of other works as well. And this is from jury member Atsushi Fukuda. And Mona Lisa, Beyond the Glass, The Sweetest Moment of the Universe, Gloomy Eyes, Il Dubbio, Episode 1, Blue Thermal, VR, and from jury member Eli Omiya, A Message of Encouragement, The Book of Dissonance, Amends,
Look at me.
Look at Me,
The
Line, from jury member Shion Sono on what's attractive about VR. And we have lots of other works. Crow, the Legend, Home, The Scream, VR, Space Explorers, The ISS Experience, and Special Screening by Keisuke Ito, Beat. At the Beyond the Frame Festival, under our slogan, Jump out of the rectangular screen and step into an infinite world, we're streaming these 19 works. Thank you for watching the video. And what's more, at our film festival, starting with tonight's opening event, all the way to Sunday the 21st, we have talk sessions almost every night, streaming live and later from our archives. This is the lineup of our events. Thank you. And today, opening session, Beyond the Frame Festival, highlights and lineup. Let's dive into a world of infinity. That's the event today. And tomorrow, on Saturday the 13th, diverse imagination stirred up by VR. Akutagawa Prize-winning author talks to 3 famous directors. And on Monday the 15th, the importance of user experience and interaction in VR animation. And on Tuesday the 16th, how to connect VR to users to reach as many people as possible. And on Wednesday, the 17th, key figures in the entertainment industry talk about VR films. What's their strategy to compete in the world? And on Thursday, the 18th, exploring the future of film festivals, the eyes of the world's film festivals on VR. And on Friday, the 19th, possibilities felt by new creators of VR films, differences in expression between live action, animation, and VR. 5 panelists will be appearing in this talk event. And on the final day, Sunday the 21st, Beyond the Frame Festival 2021 closing ceremony. So, from tomorrow and after that, we have lots of interesting events. So please do try to join us as much as you can. And to take part in the events, please apply from our official website.
Now, without further ado, we would now like to begin the opening session, BTFF highlights and lineup. Let's dive into a world of infinity. With us are Beyond the Frame Festival Ambassador Kom-ai and a member of planning and operation team of Beyond the Frame Festival, Katsutoshi Machiba, a VR contents producer. So let's have them on the screen. And to the viewers, please give us your comments and questions. Oh, so here they are. Good afternoon, nice to see you. So it's finally kicked off. Yes, it's began. Nice to see you. So now, together with Kom-ai-san and Machiba-san, we would like to talk about the highlights of this festival and some tips to enjoy more of this festival. Uh-oh, it seems that you have frozen. So just let me move on and allow me to introduce myself. Oh yes, oh sorry. I didn't realize that I was frozen. So, well, this is live. It shows that this is live. Well, so once again, let's ask our two guests to introduce themselves. Kom-ai. Yes, my name is Kom-ai. I sing, I dance, and I do the performance. This is my profession. And VR, until I got this job, I've never seen this in cinematic field. And I've just seen them in some other forms. And game experience was all I had. And I think I had some line written, and I thought that this is nothing to do with me. But I was just thinking that maybe I should learn more about the VR. And as I watched the VR works, I just got absorbed into them. They're so artistic works, and I really want other people in this world to know about this. So I'm a beginner, so maybe I can talk from that shoes. So nice to see you. Thank you. Then Machiba-san, please. Yes. I do the storytelling contents of VR, mainly XR, and we had Gear VR, and it was mostly focused on the communication tool or game. But at that time, I thought that maybe it would be interesting to combine the game and VR. So I have been involved in some works, actually. So I've been invited to some overseas film festivals, and at the international film festivals, I saw some works created by many creators, and I thought that maybe we should work harder in Japan too. So I've been working on that. And finally, we have an international film festival dedicated to the VR. So I'm so happy to be here. I hope that this will be a very good catalyst or starting point where the creators and other right users will be able to know how attractive this VR is. So nice to see you all. Thank you for having me today. So, I have a question to Komai. Komai, you said that you didn't. Did you have any contact points with VR? Well, I've been to exhibitions, and there were some works which we line up one by one and where they head mount and look at that. And also, I've been involved in the biohazard, and it was really traumatic. It was so scary. Can't believe it. You screamed, right? Yes. And Kayama Yuzo-san, he was involved, and he's really a big gamer, and he's really fast. I didn't really realize that he's a gamer. Yes, that's true. And he loves, and he's just very skillful at the VR. But I think that's about it. And also, I had a strong image that being very erotic, horror, and game. Well, so erotic and horror, I think they really something that really lead the technology. Yes, I believe that everything starts from those genre. Yes, VR the same. I think that's how it started out, and I think it's really wonderful. But the things that or types of things that I love, I like something with like documentary or something that I can really feel about the soil and image-wise, the works that have really beautiful image and really speaks to us, or something that's really with a good story and acting. So, a human, in the end, you have to imagine, even though when we are looking at the screen, because it's not something that's actually happening, but we feel that what's in front of us is something that we can experience. So I thought that that's enough, and I don't think we needed to make it into VR, and I thought that was sufficient. But getting in touch with VR, now I think that I should make something with VR, and I thought now I think that I should tell how interesting this is to other people. So I may be repetitive, the VR films and the things that you saw this time, and also with the frame films, what would be the difference? Well, the ground that we are standing on, I thought that that was really impressive because you can really see that, right? Yes. My viewpoint, well, there is a place where my eyes are, and in the space, my eyes seem to be floating, and I can see all things around 360 degrees. So we, with a body, well, in reality, we can't experience, but this is a situation where we cannot actually experience, but we don't have a body. So in the real world, I can just go turn around, but this is something that we can't really experience. And Gravity VR, I think it's one of the competitions. And I think there are many works that which can really utilize the VR. And what will be the difference? Well, I believe it really depends on the sensitivity of the creators. What would they focus on, and how would they want to use the screen? When we make works with the screen directors, well, the screen or the film works have been going on for hundreds of years, so it's very much developed. But VR is something that is going to be developed. And all the creators are doing the trial and error in order to make some things really interesting. Yes, I think that's it. Without head mount, how should we look at that? And if you ask me that question, I don't know how to answer. But at the virtual venue, you can see the trailer. So I hope that you'll enjoy that. And then I believe that it's really immersive experience. Thank you very much. Yes. And also, we don't have a place. So there is no actual one place where we can visit and experience all that thing. Yeah, you're right. in the overseas international festival, all the works of the VR were gathered, but in Japan, there isn't any place where we can see the VR works. But with this international festival, we can get in touch with the 19 beautiful works. So I hope this will be a catalyst for the Japanese users or Japanese creators to see, and then I think we'll be able to generate good works from Japan. And yes, and I believe the key would be how to gather budget, because you need to have a big budget. It's not like the screen works. And if we know that there are wonderful VR works overseas, then I think more people would like to invest into those works. And I hope there'll be more and more people like that. So having an international festival like this is really a wonderful thing. And when we hold the international festivals, rather than Japan, there are more reaction from the overseas. And I think Japan has really peculiar culture. So I think many people are focusing on the Japanese VR works, but we haven't really been able to dispatch very much. So we got a lot of encouraging message at this international festival, and we're going to have very many VR keyman, and they seem to be really looking forward to the Japanese users and the reaction of the Japanese people.
So the VR films too, but there are talk sessions as well. And you'll be able to hear a lot of different things. Yes, there are lots of talk sessions. I'm really looking forward to them. I'm a fan. So that director is going to be talking. So I'm really keen to hear what they have to say. After watching the film, how did they come up with the idea? That's something I'd like to hear from them. And Japanese directors, there are lots of them that are really trying hard, and they'll be appearing in the talk sessions as well. And in Japanese and in English, they'll be able to converse. So I'm looking forward to what we'll be able to hear from them. Yes, me too. And this time, there's one more important point. VR is actually rather difficult, but we want the light users to see this as well. So using your PC, even if you don't have a head-mounted gear, there's 3DOF, 3DOF, that kind of type. You will be able to see it at our event. So we'd like the light users to try it out as well and start from here. That's right. And it's difficult to take that step and buy a head-mounted gear. That's right. The head-mounted gear itself is rather heavy. And people like me, light users like me, an opportunity like this is really great, but without an opportunity like this, it may have been difficult. And Machiba-san, I was able to consult with you. You gave me a lot of good advice. And I think I've managed to learn a lot. Yes, you have a little more to go, but yes, you're really doing well. But after a few years, it's probably going to accelerate the calculation speed. Yes, DVD and HD DV, it's like, that's a good comparison. The format is different. Mobile phones used to be this big in the past. So it's going to be lightweight, like a pair of eyeglasses maybe. So they'll be smaller, faster, and anyone and everyone will be able to use them in the very near future. But can we enjoy it now, today, without waiting for that? Yes, we've only just started. So we want people to be able to enjoy with what we have today. Yes, I was really able to enjoy myself. And today, I'll be recommending a lot of works. So people who don't really understand VR, there are lots of things that we're keen to recommend to you. And this time, with COVID-19, to get people to enjoy this at home, we thought we need to have a venue. So we have set up a virtual venue. So from your PC, from your iPhone, please try to access like this. And Beat, there's the special airing by Keisuke Ito, the director, and he created this for us. So even if you don't have a VR, you can watch this with your smartphone. Yes, you can. And from here to each of the titles you can access. So with this hub, from this hub, you'll be able to enjoy a lot of works. And this site is in English and in Japanese. So even if you're from outside Japan, you can still enjoy this hub. Right. That's amazing. Now, let's go into the important points of how to enjoy the works. At film festivals outside Japan, the explanations are so difficult. And people talk about 3DOF, 6DOF. And in the VR space, it shows the degree of freedom. 3DOF is you're standing in the middle of the image and you turn your head or you slant your head and the image will move. But with 6DOF, that plus you can draw closer, you can maintain a distance as you watch the works. And it's rather difficult to understand. There are lots of jargon. But if you go to film festivals, there's 3DOF, 6DOF, separated out into these two categories. And this time too, with 3DOF, 360 degrees, and 6DOF, contents made with those applications. There are these two frames or two categories. So maybe you could remember those two expressions. And with 3DOF, there are three that we've prepared for you. And one of the ways to enjoy 3DOF, how to enjoy the VR films are, one is, regarding each scene, please take a look 360 degrees around you. So this is how they do it. Otherwise, you won't be able to, you'll lose the storyline. So take a look around you 360 degrees. And then after that, think about the guided viewpoint that the creator is trying to lead you through. And try to find the story. And the director will show the story to you, but in the case of VR, you have to look for it yourself. So they guide your viewpoint and you look for the story. And another thing, another way to enjoy 3DOF is be aggressive, be curious. In the case of TV, in the case of screens, you're just receiving the information, but with VR, you can be more aggressive and you can go out there and look for the information yourself. So please try to enjoy yourself and don't be too receptive. And in the case of 6DOF, first, find an environment where you can concentrate on the work, because you'll suddenly find that you'll be shocked. And go where it's quiet, where you won't be disturbed by noise from outside, which should help you enjoy the work. And another thing is, the first minute, that's where the creators create that space and tell you the rules of that work. So try to catch that and understand that, which means you can immerse yourself in the story. And if you miss that first minute, you lose sight of the story. So that first minute is very important. I see. And lastly, right in front of you, if there's a door, open the door. If there's a door in front of you, open it. If there's a ball in front of you, throw it. If there's a match in front of you, strike it. And light it up. There are lots of signs on the floor in front of you. There are lots of works that develop in that way. So if you see something, try opening it, try using it. That's very important. So keeping that in mind, if you could please try watching those works. Now, Kom-ai-san, you have chosen some works and you'll be introducing them to us? Yes, sure. And Totoki-san, navigator, you're enjoying yourself? Yes, of course I'm enjoying myself. And your conversation, it's making me feel even more excited. And thank you very much to both of you. No, thank you. And to all of our listeners, I hope that you're starting to realize how wonderful this film festival is. And from our audience, we will be accepting questions. We have a Q&A session later on. So please ask a lot of questions to our two speakers. If you have a question, use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen, and you'll be able to input your questions. So please send in your questions and comments. Thank you. So from here, Kom-ai-san and Machiba-san will be introducing the works to us to give us how attractive they are and give us more specifics. Okay, let's begin. This time, so 3DOF and 6DOF. We asked for works, but you chose 6 works from 6DOF. You chose many more than we thought. So you watched all 19 works? That must have been a lot of effort. No, it's great fun, actually. And there were the long... I thought that with the long films, it's really tough, but this time these were short works. So with 3DOF or 6DOF, they were maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes in length. So I watched all of them, but if they were long features, then it would have been quite tough. About 3 years ago, the works themselves were under 10 minutes in length, the VR works. But recently, we're starting to see longer works, 20 minutes maybe. And out of them, the user's literacy is improving, which means that we'll probably see longer works, although it's difficult to say. And the processing capabilities of human beings will probably improve as well. And the movies, initially, I think that the documentaries, the recordings, the records were not that long to begin with. And TikTok, so there are lots of video that are short and full of information. So VR maybe are going to stay short.
Yes, in a moment, probably you will see everything from all the viewpoints. Maybe that's the direction that could go. Oh, yes, that's also possible. So it doesn't mean that longer the better. And by making it shorter, I think you can have an appeal to wider public. Yes, that's right. Because films usually have a length of 90 minutes at least. But probably you can have an experience of deep and short experience with VR. And usually the younger people watch the YouTube with double speed. Is that right? Yes, they want to look the information instantly because they won't be bored with that speed. So if TikTok is doubled, then or my music is doubled, I don't like that. Well, I believe that everybody is listening to the music in a normal speed. But Komai-san's, your music piece, they're really fast and fast tempo, isn't it? Yes. And you have a lot of lyrics. Yes, I often make mistake because I cannot catch up with the speed. But in TikTok, people listen to with the double speed, the Megumi no Hito. So probably younger people like something really faster with a high pitch. I believe that they're using the 24 hours in a different manner. Yes. Just lagging behind. So, Todoki-san, could you introduce the works, please? Yes. In this film festival, here are the competitions. First, I will start with the 3DOF works. 3DOF works. So, 3DOF works. They sense the rotation and also the tilting of the head. And in 3DOF, you have x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. So it senses all the moves front and back, and also to left and right. And the first work is this. It's called Home. And the story is in the summer of one afternoon, the extended family gathers to grandmother's house. They spend a time with her and then return to their daily lives. So that is what it's about. So why did you choose this, Komai-san? Why I watched this toward the end, and probably that's the reason. I thought that the animation works are much easier to create in the VR, but because you can just use the time freely in your pace. You can decide the time and decide that this scene goes with this time pace, and you can create a space and just create the time of flow as you like. But I think this is just taking with one take, this work home. But within the screen, within the rectangular screen, when we do the music video, I had a one take, but it was really a hard work. And even it's just 3-minute length, it was really hard because you have to really be careful of everything that will be in the screen. And if one thing is mistaken, then you have to do it once again. And they use this method, but there is no, in a good way, it's very much relaxed, the atmosphere. So that was wonderful. So I thought that this will be wonderful, even this is not a VR. And the idea itself is quite simple. And I thought that, well, this plan or this idea, this proposal was passed or accepted. That was really wonderful. And the viewpoint, I didn't really, or we couldn't really tell who is the main character. And that I found that really interesting. And I thought that this will be that will be the key. And then gradually, you begin to understand. And I think I'm going to tell everything, but the grandma, this is grandma's house, and all the extended families gather together in her house. And the viewpoint is actually grandmother, and she's on the wheelchair. So you can tell that if you look around. It seems that you yourself is immobile, and the grandpa comes to you and talks to you and says that mother. He calls to you mother, and that's really surprising. So I've never actually felt how older people like her would feel. And I've never had this immersive experience, but I think that's the really appeal of VR, where you can feel like you are a person of a completely different age. And also people who cannot go to the nursing homes or others go to somewhere else and do something or some experience which is beyond your physical ability. And I believe that that's the potentiality of VR. And I think that was the starting point of this proposal or this story. I myself really like this. I don't know why, but well, the quality was so superb. And the actors, they talk to the 360 degrees camera. So actually, the grandma is not there, but they look towards the camera, and it seems that they're talking to grandma. And if the way they are acting is not really good, or if they're poor at acting, it will be a blunder. But they were so natural, and they acted in such a natural manner. And I myself thought that I am the part of this Taiwan extended family. And so this quality and also the hearing aid scene was wonderful. And in the beginning, the sound quality is not really good. Then the grandfather says that, oh, grandma, you have to have this hearing aid. Then suddenly the quality of the sound improves. And that way of presenting was wonderful. And I myself love this very much. Last year, when I first saw this, well, the VR of the actual take is really difficult because your viewpoint is in that world. So it's really difficult to have a 2D perspective. And if you want to create a story with a perspective, it becomes really difficult. So I thought that the VR in the actual take will be so difficult, but this is wonderful. And I thought this is so impressive, but it's not flashy or anything, very quiet and very nice. And I thought that, well, this is so overwhelming. This has beaten me. And the director, I heard that this is a very private story of director, and every year, when there's a summer festival, all the extended family gathers at grandfather and grandmother's house, and there was a time, and few months before this film was taken, the grandmother passed away, and the furniture that she actually used and all the bed that was in the film was used by the grandma, and it was used in this film. And the casting, or the cast, some of them are actual family members. Oh, that's impressive. And also the director himself appears in this film. Oh, where is he? There was a small boy, right? Kai? Yes, that small boy is the son of the director. Oh, that small boy. Oh, I see. With a short hair. And the director, he's the one who's wearing glasses, who is the father of a small boy. So that's the director who looks very kind. And his wife as well. It wasn't really in the story, but anyway, well, maybe she's in the film. So yes, his wife could be in the film.
And Kai appears during the film, and he is the grandma's favorite grandson. And he's a really, really good boy. And if he were an actor, that would be really amazing acting. And I thought growing old is wonderful, watching the relationship. And it's good to be alive and to live a long life. And the grandma, if you go to your grandmother's house, when you leave, she will see you off and stand there waving at you for a long, long time. And is this in Kaohsiung in Taiwan? Yes, was it filmed in Kaohsiung as well? It was filmed somewhere in Taiwan, I think. I'm not sure where. Not Taipei, I think, because they talked about going back to Taipei, so it's probably not Taipei. Yes, it's a really wonderful work. And Su Chien, the director, he'll be appearing in one of the talk events. So yes, we'd like to hear more from him, I think. And I wonder what he has to say. And talking about technology, earlier on, Todoki-san talked about 360 degrees and the texture, and you can really feel it. And it was really beautiful. And the Japanese VR cameraman, if you ask them, the Japanese cameramen say they don't know how they managed to get those beautiful, clear texture of the sense of feel. And I'd like to ask more about what Grandma had by her, by the camera. You mean the doll? Yes, let's ask the director. And how did they get the actors to feel empathy, to feel their role? And looking into the camera, I think they were probably trying to be aware of looking at the camera. But I'd like to know how they did that. Yes, a wonderful director. And I think this is his first work. Before, he used to direct music videos. And in the future, I'm sure that he's going to come up with lots more wonderful works. And so a director of music videos, I think more than the story, he wants to value the feel. So with 3DOF, 6DOF, maybe it's a perfect match. That's right. Yes, there are directors who are a good match for VR, and then there are probably directors who are a good match for the conventional frame kind of films. So I do hope everyone will take a look at this work. So I'd like people who think, I don't like VR. If you think that way, please watch this. If this is the first VR work you ever see, that's really good. You won't feel woozy. And this is someone else's perspective, and there's a very good explanation. It's very convincing. This is like textbook, classic. Okay, thank you. Let's move on then. Yes, Todoki-san. Yes, the next slide, please. And the next work that we recommend is Crow the Legend. And the storyline is a story based on a Native American myth about crows, where a courageous crow sets out on a journey into space. And this work? So Kom-ai-san, why did you choose this? I like Disney animations. And even after growing up, I still go to the movie theaters to watch Disney movies. And I like fantasy. And Remember Me? I hear there's a VR of that as well. And the movie was really good, so I want to see the VR version as well. And it tickles the child in me. Even when grown-ups see it, it's still very moving emotionally. And the story was really good. And if it's VR, I think it's a good match with outer space. Gravity on Earth, but the story is about something other than gravity on Earth. And this work shows how they go to visit the creator of the world that they live in. And the story after meeting the creator turns into a comical one. It's very American. And I thought this is probably a work from the USA. Yes, it's very American. And it's really grand, but it's also comical. I thought that was really good. And the texture, like the earth, the trees, I really loved that. And it's different from clay animation. It's more like felt, between sand and felt. It's something you cannot create in a real world, but it has warmth, it feels raw, and the director is very successful in creating this kind of sense of texture. Todoki-san, you were about to say something earlier on. This work, I thought this was really great, because without Japanese subtitles, I could tell what was going on. As an animation, visually, the design was really good. That's true, it's very beautiful. The images are good. And the director of Crow is Eric Darnell, and he used to work at DreamWorks, and he was in charge of the Madagascar series. And at Baobab Studios. So this is a studio aiming for VR Pixar. And I think this is his second work. And probably in VR, in the world of VR, people will say, Invasion, a rabbit character, is famous in VR. And he's the one who came up with that. And that won the Emmy Award. So he's very capable. Oh, so this company, Baobab Studio. So that's a name you might want to remember. And this work was done by Baobab Studios. And gradually, in VR storytelling, they're improving the quality. And this is reaching a pretty good point. It's true, the scenario was Pixar. So this is like the development stage. Yes, they're very good at doing this. They seem to have a lot of experience. And this American tale, I think it matches the times. From mythology, it's been influenced by Native American mythology. That's what it said at the end. And I think it matches the times. And the voice actors are actually really glamorous. The Crow was done by the person in La La Land, star John Legend. Really? And the turtle. Yes, there was a tortoise. And Lady Player One, the hero who played Maid Watts, played the part of the turtle. So yes, this is typical Hollywood. And Oprah Winfrey appears as well. That's right. Yes, really star-studded cast that we hardly ever see in Japan. And another thing that you might want to know about is Crow the Legend. This is 3DOF this time, and it's been nominated, but actually there's a 6DOF version as well. You use a controller, and you can touch the snow, or you can cause wind. And when that happens, it makes you wonder, what's it going to be like experiencing this movie? I thought this was really trippy. When I was a child, I wish I could have seen a work like this when I was a little girl. It would have left a really big impression, the light. And this time, there's a 2D version as well. Crow the Legend 2D for an ordinary movie screen. And this 2D version, you can watch it on YouTube free of charge. And the 3DOF version that we have this time, you can compare the two. It's the same story. So you'll be able to experience the difference as well. That should be interesting too.
そうですね。ユニティで作っちゃってるから、いろんなことに展開できるんでしょうね、多分ね。
なるほど、なるほど。
確かに。
俺の知ってるユニティと違う。
いやいや、まあやっぱり向こうはかなりお金かけてやってるからね、これ。
めちゃくちゃお金かかってる感じしました。
そうですよね。でも6ドフ版もね、ぜひちょっと僕もまだやってないんですけど、どんな風になるんだろうってすごい楽しみですけどね。
見たいな。
きっと苦労とかにも近寄れたりするんでしょうね。
ああ、確かに。
なんですごいこうなんだろう、こんなに実力派のバオバブスタジオの作品を紹介できるっていうのはすごいありがたいことですね。
ですね。
ぜひこれもちょっと見てほしいですね。はい。じゃあ次行きますか。
はい。
鈴木さん。
はい、それでは次の作品はこちらです。スライドをお願いします。こちら、Look at Me という作品です。あらすじは、誰もが VR 技術に依存する近未来。男はある日、真の交流を切望する人々が集まる場所に訪れるというね。いやー、これ
どういうことなんだってあらすじだけ見ると。お前さん何を選んだんだみたいになっちゃう。
ねえ。
小林さんどういうところでこれを。
いや、これもすごいですね。あれファニークってとこでしたっけ？
そうですね。台湾のね。
ホームと同じですかね。
同じの。スタジオが。顔種映画祭から出てきてますね。
いやー、すごいわ。台湾やばいなと思ってもう。
やばいですね。
こっちからパンチからってこっちからパンチからったみたいな感じで、もうホームとルックアットミーがもう台湾からっていうので、台湾すごいなって急にもなっちゃいました。それまで全然台湾の VR がすごいって知らなかったので、両方ともすごい自分の好みの作品だったので本当に驚きました。で、またこれもただ映画としてのなんていうか 2D だったとしても本当にクオリティが高い、キャスティングもバッチリだし、お芝居もすごいし、なんだろうってか、なんか全然すごく自然で。で、あと一番最初のカットでちょっとなんか不自然さを感じたんですよね。あれと思って、これなんか違和感があるなと思って、なんかそのいい感じの映画っていう感じでもないなと思ったら、それがあえてだったんですよね。その主人公が見ている VR の中の話だったんですよね。中のキャラクターだったんですよね。 その二重構造になってるのとかもやられたし、その VR がこうに依存する人が増えていくっていう未来への危機感みたいなのをなんかすごいなんか批判的に捉えた作品、それをベースにストーリーを組んでったっていうのがすごい面白いので、これもなんか VR なんていうのかな、あんまりちょっと苦手かなとかやってどうするのみたいな思ってる人にはここから入ってもらうのもすごくいいなと思いました。逆に利用してこういう作品が作れるんだって。
逆にですね。
確かにストーリーがもう面白いですもんね、これね。
面白い。
なんかホームはすごく静かな作品ですけど、こっちはちょっと激しめっていうか、かなりこうチャレンジしてる作品だなってすごい思います。
そうですね。あとアダルトなんで子供に見せれない。
そうそう、ちょっと見せれないですね。そこはちょっと要注意でございますね。
センシティブが。
そういうなんかエイリアン的なのってないんですか、VR って。
まだないんですけど、なんで要はもう自分たちでそこをこうなんだろうエイリンはねないんですよね、まだね。
いつまでその状態なのかわかんないけど結構面白いなと思って、エイリンがない時代の映画とか映画の世界って面白そうだし、
だからやりすぎちゃうと多分ねいろんなところから絶対言われてしまうので、その辺はちょっと考えなきゃいけないですけど、だからなんか結構やっちゃってる作品とかもやっぱあるんですよね。なんかこう首がビャーンって飛んだりとか、そうだからやっぱフレームとちょっと違ってすごくこう自分体験になってくるんで、その辺の表現はすごい気をつけないといけないなってたまに思います。なんだ
そうですね、
体験が強烈なんで。
ですね。
なんかでもこう何なんですかね、台湾ね。なんか次々すごいいい作品出してくるから。
いや本当にすごい
熱いですね、台湾。
熱いですね。
私全員のスタイルが良すぎるのが気になったんですけど。台湾の人ってこのスタイルいいんだろう。
確かに。
ピンクのシャツ似合うしな。
そうなんですよね。
スタイリングもすごい良かったし、それって別に 2D の映画技術が高いのかもそもそもとか思ったりして。
そうですね。多分なんかちょうどうまく混ざってるんですかね、なんかね。
そうだと思います。そうだと思います。その普通のフレームの映画の中でも本当にセンスがある人たちがこうつながってやってるみたいな感じですかね。いいそういう監督のキャスティングも良かったのかもしれないですね。
なんかこのホームもルックアットミーもカオシュン映画祭の中のVR フィルムラボっていうのがあるんですけど、それこそさっきちょっと話してたワークショップ、そこから出てきてる作品なんですよね。だからそこになんかねノウハウがあるんじゃないかなってなんか思う。
やばいですね。
やばいです。で今回また宣伝になるけどあれです、そのカオシュン映画祭のキュレーターさんも2月19日の20時に来るので、なんかその辺聞いてほしいですよね。なんか教えてくれって思います。なんか
本当ですね。いやすごすぎたわ。
実写の VR 映画難しいと思ってたのに、矢継ぎ早にっていうか次々にねこんなになんか作品出してくるから、
そうですね。
台湾には注目ですね本当。
部屋の作りとかのその部屋の中も今現代よりはもう少しなんか10年ぐらい進んだイメージだと思うんで、なんかそのデザインとかも結構リアルで面白かったし、
確かに、なんか古すぎもしない新しすぎもしないっていうところがねちょうどなんかリアルに感じますよね、なんだかね。
でなんか未来を皮肉ってるのにやっぱ現代を皮肉ってる感じもあるんですよね。だから自分たちがすでに感じてる携帯に依存してる感じとか、で感情移入することは全然できて。
それで言うと最初のシーンバーチャル彼女がこう自分の飼ってるペットの雑談をしてるだけで生放送の同時視聴者数が17,000人いってるところにおーっとなってそ
こ注目してた、さすが。
ただまあ今もまあ VTuber のゲーム実況で17,000人ぐらいの同説者があるし、ここは結構もうすでに察しみたいなところがあってそこちょっとかなりVTuber なので個人的にうっとなりましたね。
なるほど。
あとなんかなんだこれも技術的なんですけど360度の使い方がすごいうまいなと思ったんですよね。なんか360度の 映像ってみんなこう周りにぐるって回したりとかするんですけど、カメラの周りを回ったりぐらいしかしないんですけど、これの場合なんかこう奥行き使ってるのがすごいうまいですよ。なんか
確かに。
近くから遠く行ったりとか、遠くから近くに来たりとか、なんかそれがこの360度 3D の演出がすごい効いてるんで、すごいちゃんと計算して撮影してるなっていうのをすごい思いました。
あとなんかその360度独特の待ち時間みたいなの作ってもらわないと、なんかその見てる人が次の部屋に行ったりとかするとやっぱちょっとキョロキョロ見回すじゃないですか。ストーリーのその進む速度をそこで一瞬置いてくれたりスペースをどっかで取ってくれないとっていう、なんかそれがすごく自然に作られてて、なんかこう主人公の人がちょっと周りを見渡してるとかちょっと立ち止まってるみたいな時間があったりすると、そういう時に見てる視聴者も見渡したりとかする、それもすごいよくできてたなと思います。
多分おっしゃるとおり、なんかスクリーンとそのためがね、ちょっと VR の作品、ルックアットミーは非常にうまいかもしれないですよね。なんかね。
うまいですね。
で、かといって無意味なことをさせてるわけじゃないですもんね。なんかね。
そうそう、それがただ止まってるって感じだと無意味ね。
そうですよね。何にもないってなるとなんか無意味なんですけど、ちゃんとこう意味があることをみんなしてるんで、すごいちゃんとすごいなって本当思います。
本当そう思いました。
じゃあもう来年あたりちょっとカオシュン映画祭にみんなで行きますか。じゃあも
う行きます。
もうあそこからすごいのがいっぱい出てくる。なんか
ですね。
ね、本当に。その前にちょっと今回のトークイベントでいろいろ聞いてみて、そのノウハウを知りたいですね。
楽しみですね。
もう本当になんか一生懸命実写の VR 映画やるんですけど、こういう作品作られたらやられたなってすごい思います。なんか
カオシュンとかあと台南とかなんかライブで行ったことあるんですけど、すごい IT が強いっていろんな人に言われたので、こういうことかって今くらい実感しました。
ぜひこれもちょっと皆さんに見ていただきたいですね。
ぜひ見てください。
ありがとうございます。
Thank you. So, Todoki-san, would you like to move on to the next work? Yes, this is the next work. Space Explorers, the ISS Experience. And this is a VR documentary of 8 astronauts on a historical mission to the International Space Station. Excuse me. Thank you. You chose this one, Komai-san. Why? Oh, was that unexpected? Well, personally, it's okay for me to speak about my personal thoughts, but so with VR movies, right from the beginning, he has been creating works, Félix La Jeunesse. Very good quality. And this time, I'm really happy that this is competing. The quality was very high. The VR technologies, how should they be used? It's not just that. But you could feel that this was a work he really wanted to create. So the ability to see light in the space, beautiful light, capturing that. When filming an ordinary movie, this is a very important skill. And I think this kind of ability is very important. I thought, yes, that's the deciding factor. So filming space, it's an idea that anyone could have. But what was amazing, I wonder, I'm not quite sure. I felt the possibilities of documentaries. All of you? So this is about the International Space Station. It's a historical mission. And people talk about their experiences and what's it like living in the space station, what was your life up to this point, etc., etc. And there were lots of things that were very emotionally moving. And in the past, people who work at the space station, I feel that I've drawn the closest ever to people who work at the space station. And I was able to get closer to their lives. That was the experience. And what they had to say was wonderful as well. And physically, they're in very good health and they're very clever. So to go to the space station, of course you understand those kinds of things are necessary to be able to withstand non-gravity. So people who are in the military, or there were people like that, astronauts like that. But there was also a researcher who was working there. So they have diverse backgrounds, but actually, humanity seems to be the most important thing. I understood that for the first time. Perseverance and teamwork, thinking about how you can help each other. And just being serious is not enough. You need to have a sense of humor. You need to be able to face what your own problems are. And sacrificing your family, sacrificing your private life, people like that will not be able to go to space. There are lots of very good messages in this work. And the astronauts who went there, you could experience what they experienced. And you could tell that the Earth is fragile and the Earth is beautiful. There were scenes of Earth and they were breathtaking, very beautiful. In the 1960s, I think, it was like the Space Odyssey. And those images, ever since we were born, we know about these images. The Earth is this color, and we've seen that image so many times. It's not really new, but at the space station, you live a very lonely life and you empathize with them. So the beauty of Earth from the space station is completely different, even though you've seen those images countless times before. It's a really good work. And it's a 4-part work, and it's part 1, episode 1 of 4. Wow, so we can look forward to more. Yes, we have 3 more coming. This year, by autumn, they're going to disclose 3 more episodes, and they filmed more than 200 hours over 4 years. That's amazing. So like like you say, this is not just simply a documentary to study what it's like to be an astronaut. They go deep down into the humanity. And that's probably the sensitivity of the director. I think it's a wonderful documentary. So there's this wonderful material, and he picked out just the really wonderful parts and did the editing. That's true. And with gravity, we now live on Earth that has gravity, and we put on the VR glasses to try to experience non-gravity. And I think that's interesting. So because you see non-gravity, it makes you feel like you're experiencing non-gravity. So did you feel woozy after watching this? I've never felt sick after watching VR. After watching this, I recalled when I saw zero gravity. It was really, really shocking, and it was a good experience, but I felt really sick to the stomach. And with this work too? No, with this work. No, with zero gravity, the angle kept on going in a direction that I didn't expect. And I think my sense of balance felt car sick. But the grandness of space, in 360 degrees, I can look around the way I want to, and I felt that I didn't feel car sick at all. With zero gravity, you watch the VR? No, just the ordinary zero gravity. Yes, lots of people said they felt car sick after watching zero gravity, but with the VR version of zero gravity, maybe it's going to be different. And after this, in this work, there's going to be scenes of walking in space. I think they were preparing that, which means that they're probably going to be going outside. Yes, there are 4 rookies. That's right. And for them, this is a new step for them. And they're like beginners. So they're beginners among experts. And that was rather interesting as well.
あとなんかもう何度も技術の話して申し訳ない。
And I keep on talking about technology, but in Japan, 360 degrees VR, we don't have that 360 degrees in live action, but overseas there's a lot of live action 360 degrees. And with 3D, if it doesn't really suit you, it doesn't feel very comfortable. But this was pretty good, and it's 360 degrees, and this is amazing technology. What's the difference?
なんかこう立体視
So there's 3D perspective. With Japanese works, it's only 360 degrees. But it's not really three-dimensional. It feels flat. Yes, that's right, flat. So with training, do you remember there was a training scene where a shoe flows towards you? And I could see the shoe drifting towards me and I tried to strike it down. It felt very three-dimensional. And things like that are done outside Japan, but in Japan, we're not really good at doing that. And it's difficult. Is it difficult? Yes, it's very difficult. 360 degrees. And depending on how you see it, that three-dimensionalness isn't a good match, and it makes you feel uncomfortable. But with this work, it was really good. And I was wondering how they did the filming. So if you try to look in the room next door and you move your head, and you can peek into the room next door just a little bit. That's right, something like that. So the room in the back, you see something cylindrical. Oh, it's a cylindrical space. So that makes the 3D aspect kick in. In a space that's gradually spreading, you're in the middle, you have the camera in the middle. So it was a very good space for using 360 technologies. A lot of thought went into this work, I think. And I'm looking forward to episode 2. Probably. This is a very big project, and NASA is involved, and Canada's space authorities are involved, and all over the world. There are carriers, telephone carriers, that are providing the funds, the budget for this work. And I think this is a very global, big project. Otherwise, you could never come up with a work like this.
Well, this is so valuable. Yes, this is wonderful. And this is a must. You must watch this. There's so a lot of work to do. So many things to see. That's right. So please watch this. Now, Todoki-san, what is the next work? Yes, the next work is this. Replacements. It's an animated film about a Japanese family living in an alley in Jakarta, the capital of Indonesia. Yes. So, why did you choose this? This was also wonderful. The ones that we have talked about, I think the production size was big. The Crow, by having that, I wanted to, well, after talking about the Crow, I wanted to introduce some works about indie. How about you? Well, I love this very much. As a VR work? Well, yes. I thought that, yes, it's convincing that one would take a work using VR. The environment in the town, it's just changing naturally. It's something not really interesting if you look at this in the ordinary screen, but this is interesting because you have this in VR. There's an axis of time. So it seems that you are the electric pole of one town and stay there for decades. Not maybe 100 years, but decades. And I really want to ask questions to the director. And I thought that there is some global intention, political intention. And I think this is something that you should just watch this number of times. And I believe that there are so many things lurking inside. Commercially, there were some commercial access as well. And there you can see some PRs, the billboards in the standing of art. For example, if you go to 1980s, you see Japanese products ads. So at that time, the Japanese electronic goods ads increased everywhere and then disappeared after that. So I think it's also interesting to look at that point. And also, I think that there was someone with disability. So it's an animation, but very much detailed. And also, tobacco, chewing tobacco. There was an old woman using the chewing tobacco, and she was still smoking that chewing tobacco after a while. And the old man sitting next to her was always moving her mouth. And when I go to Southeast Asian countries, there are many people who drink the chewing tobacco. So I thought that old woman was having that. So there are so many things to see in detail. And also, this is a Muslim country, so there is a mosque. So it wasn't an ordinary mosque, but I thought that it was LGBT. Well, there was a flag that says that they're against the LGBT on the streets. And one candidate, a Muslim candidate, probably that the flags or banner was the message of that candidate. And Java was once a big rural area, but then it changed, and probably people feel that they've been overtaken by the Muslim. So I thought this was an artwork. Jonathan Haggard, the director, actually lives in Kyoto, Japan. He's a French Indonesian based in Japan. So I met him once. He speaks Japanese. And he was an animator and illustrator. And if you look at this homepage, the picture itself has story. That's the kind of the illustration he draws. And he has a Japanese name. It's not a VR, but just looking at his picture in the frame, I think the story really comes to you. And I think that's the taste that director has. And that is developed in 360 degrees. So Komoi-san, you're looking at the details, and I think you really have to look into details. Otherwise, you will not be able to enjoy fully this feature of this director. I believe that everything is based on the actual photos. I think he wrote about the grandma. So I think he has. This is based on the street pictures, and probably he had brought some motif from other places and other times. For example, the contents of advertisements, and the backgrounds probably were taken and brought in from many other places, and probably the music that you hear that comes from radio or the contents that you hear from the television, everything so detailed. So how much is really brought from the photos, and how much comes from the actual records, and how much is brought in? That's the kind of question I like to ask. Probably he's taking a lot of time, and I hear that he's doing everything almost by himself. And I also heard that he asked his sister to help him. But in a small project, I'm really amazed that you can create something with this worldview. So this type of work, I'd really like to encourage and support at the international film festivals. Yes, the international festivals is a place where all the big works as well as the smaller works get together without which one being superior or inferior. So it's really interesting. So I don't think we'll be able to reach these 6 off. So we have to be really fast. So next work, please. It's a work titled Mope, the story of a parent and child woven in a mother's womb. We are led by the umbilical cord to witness the endless chain of life between parent and child. Wow. So yes, so as the story says, this is what it's about. This kind of a touch of animation and VR. How should I say? It's like a hand-drawn animation. Well, this was the first hand-drawn animation, and I thought it was really interesting. Simply, I thought it was interesting. I don't know how to express that, but it's like a game. Oh, yes. The Crow, the Legend we talked about is created by a game engine, Unity. But in case of Yuhara, the director used Photoshop and After Effects, and he hand draws this. Wow. It's the same technology VR-wise, right? Yes. It's a sort of a training. And he says that he takes about a year. Yuhara says that he's recently began to use the Unity, and he says that using Unity is much easier. So it sounds like someone has used a washing machine for the first time. So he's known how easy it would be to use a technology. But I produced this 3-beat, and he has a wonderful talent. And Yuhara also has a wonderful talent. So I think he's going to lead the VR film world in Japan.
And again, the lighting was wonderful. With an animation, it tends to have like a paper-like texture, but with this one, it was like stained glass. It expressed a church, I think, and the stained glass was beautiful. And it wasn't 3D, but the light coming through the stained glass was really beautiful. And the way he expressed things, he's human, but it's like a pouched animal, marsupial. And even if you grow, you're still linked. And there was this imagination. It was a wonderful work. And I really love this work as well. Yes, that's true. And I was surprised that this was a man. Yes, I thought the director was a woman too, initially. And I thought, oh, it's a male director. I was surprised. And if you go after subculture, this is going to be a big hit, I think. Really. Right now, in the world of VR, that's where it is. But if you go after subculture, this is going to be really big. And right now, we're introducing works from VR. But people who like the genre, there's a lot of difference, I think, between the genres that people prefer. And yes, that's right. A lot of diversity. Yes, it's true. So we've just gathered together works that are VR. So it's like having a YouTube video festival. That's right. But there's an infinite type of people. Yes, Yuhara-san will also be appearing in one of our talk sessions. And with the director of Home, he'll be holding a talk session. So that's a very good combination, I think. Yes, let's move on. We don't have time, so please, go ahead. Yes, so those were the 3 DOF works that Kom Ai-san had to recommend. And next, let's move on to the 6 DOF works. And 6 DOF is, it's not just 360 degrees, it also covers movement, up and down, back and forth, and left and right. That is 6 DOF. And the first work is this one, Gloomy Eyes. And this is a story about the love between Gloomy, a zombie boy, and Nena, a human girl, in a world of despair where the sun is gone and humans are against zombies. So, Kom Ai-san, why did you choose this work? Well, like Crow, compared to Crow, this is a completely different type of animation work. The touch is different. And I'm trying to think about how to say this. What I wanted to say was, a really famous director had a work. Tim Burton, yes, that's right, Tim Burton. Earlier animations. So it's mainly dark, and then it moves forward. It was very similar to his works, I think. And compared to the what you see on the screen now, it's much, much darker. It's really dark. And I was wondering, do I have the settings right? And VR, how you use darkness is also very important, I think. And after this, we'll be introducing Distance, the book of Distance, I think. There are characters. And from the tip of your head to the tip of your toe. If you can see everything, it doesn't seem real. But the back side, my back, if it's in darkness, and then just this part floats out from the darkness, if you do it that way, it's like a real human being sees in a real world. It gets closer to reality, I think. And it sort of tickles your imagination. It's true, having shadows means that you imagine. That's right. And he used this technique very well. When you watch Gloomy Eyes, the perspective of looking across the area is done very well using light. And with VR 360 degrees, you think creating a 360-degree world is really tough. But with this work, they just create the parts that you are showing. And I thought that was very cleverly done. And the other works, if there's a space in that room, you're often in the middle of the room. But with this work, you're outside the room. It's a miniature world, and you're peering into that miniature world. It's like a little plastic model. It's the world of models that you are peeking into, and that's where the story unfolds. And I thought that idea was very interesting too. Yes, this is going to be a great hit among the subculture people. That's right. And I think there's a lot of volume. Yes, the scale keeps on getting larger towards the end. And towards the end, something really enormous appears. First, it's miniature, but towards the end, you have to look up. That's right. That was really fun too. And globally, recently, what you often see is a lot of countries' productions collaborating with them. And this work too, it's from a collaboration among the US, Argentina, lots of different countries, Taiwan too. A lot of creators have been involved in this work, and I thought that was interesting too. And probably it needed a lot of budget as well. But like Replacement or Mauve, this is a much more bigger project than them. But with VR, productions from a variety of countries can come together. And I think you see that as a trend. That's right. Okay, let's move on. Next, The Book of Distance. This is the story of Yonezo Okita, who left Hiroshima for Canada in 1935. Yes, it's Yonezo Okita. That's the name. And overcame hardship in the war and lived through concentration camps, told by his grandson, the director of this film. So, Kom Ai-san, why did you choose this? This too, I want lots of people to see this as well. And there's an educational element as well. That's what I thought after seeing it, but it's also very entertaining. And there's a game-like aspect as well in this work. So there are a lot of different things that intersect, a lot of different elements. And it's about the director's grandfather. And at the beginning, the director appears and introduces the work. And that was rather surprising too. Yes, I've never seen that before. The director appearing in person. There was the voice of the director saying, "How do you do?" And seeing the director. You know, the voice is the voice of the director, but I don't know if it was actually really the director's voice. He probably can't speak Japanese. Well, I think reading the letter at the end is the voice of the director. That's true. So maybe someone else was reading it then. But I was under the impression, the illusion that it was the voice of the director. That's what it felt like. And in the dark, you could only see him faintly. But his height seemed to be about as tall as I am. And with 6 DOF, you can move around. And if the person you can see is about the same size as you are, it's like you gain a kind of a social standing. I think that's what's interesting about 6 DOF. It's interactive, and you can touch things in that world. That's true. And in that world, you can change the story, you can change the structure. And I think that's interesting about 6 DOF. And what made it even more interesting was it went back in time. And Yonezo's life was interesting. And I think this was very good material. And only he could have created this work.
So it said that Yonezo doesn't really talk. So that's why the director, the grandson, wanted to know more. Yes, he just had to guess from what has happened. So we have more imagination. And I think that motivated him to create this VR. Randall Okita, the director, creates films and also sculpture and technology, art, and does the physical performance as well. So I thought that, oh, that's why he came up with this work. It's a restriction in the hardware, and there's still low VR literacy. So the director himself is leading and trying to do the narrative and provides an immersive experience. So this was the first type of work for me to see. It's like very theatrical. In the stage theater, you can have one person to come in, but only one person can act a role. So all the people who watch this in VR can play a similar role. And that was really interesting. So there is a role to play, right? You're being guided by the director. And it was really convincing. It seems that you're doing the same work together with Yonezo. And in the detention camp, the presentation was wonderful. And if you're limited to that, it's a very educational film. But they pick the harvest the strawberries, and it was really something that enjoyable in your life. So that's why it's really impressive. and the people with the same height are in the forest and outside of the forest.
なんか本当に収容所に入った人の気持ちを今まで分かれ
And I've never understood the people who were in the detention camp until now, until I saw this. It's completely different from just looking at that in the frame image and being there. And you have the viewpoint of the sister and also the story of the atomic bomb. So the two places cross with each other in the story, and it was so impressive. There was a lot of thought into that. Yes, I agree. Oh my God, we're passing the scheduled time. Can I go for another one? Oh, am I allowed to do that? Komai-san, another one? Oh yes, it's fine with me. I can go more and more. So let's just introduce one more. Is it okay to talk about the amends? Yes, amends was so interesting. So amends, a film that depicts a relationship with an estranged mother and the chaotic emotions of the past in an interactive way. Yes. Well, why did you choose this? Just like the home we saw? Well, it's completely opposite, and it starts with the viewpoint of a child. And you're small, and when you're small, you feel that your mother is really gigantic, big, that the adults are all big. And you have that, it starts with that viewpoint. And the relationship with the mother gets really complicated. And you worry about your mother, or the mother is hard on you. And it depicts the experience of the child, but the goal was so nice. It's not just you go separate each other, but the very top of the building block, you put the last block. And that's something when the mother wanted to do when you were a child and couldn't do that. But now you're bigger, you grow old, and you have more things to be able to do. And the building block represents that. And the mother, you feel that you can now help your mother, and you're now stronger, and you can improve the situation. And I think that was the goal. And that was good. And the interaction was so meaningful, wasn't it? Yes. There was a game element, a simple game element, but it's not a meaningless interaction, but all the interactions had meaning. So I thought that, well, this was well made. Mikkel Battlefield is from Denmark, the director. And he created this work at the workshop for the animation. And this is his first work. Oh my God, can't believe it. It's a completely different workshop from what I know. I hope that such workshops will be held in Japan as well. So I believe that we'll have more and more good creators. And the scene that the child fell, and also the scene where mother shuts the door, that was really hard. This film doesn't really show the story. So each viewer has a very chaotic emotion to mother, and it's all based on each person's experience. Yes, as you say, yes, it was very well made. Yes, I believe that everything is supplemented by each viewer's memory. And it's completely different from the eyes of the mother when she shuts the door. And I thought that was really scary. Also, the expression was so scary because there are many doors and all of them are shut one after another. You really feel pressured. And because viewpoint can move around, you feel a sense of guilt that you can do nothing about it. So you do nothing and you cannot do anything. So you hit the wall by throwing the building blocks. And yes, that was really impressive. So yes, it was really well thought interactions. And I hope this will be shown. So I think we are running out of time. Actually, we wanted to talk about the Scream and the Gravity VR. They're very both good. So I hope that you watch yourselves. And thank you very much for summarizing this. So can we go to the Q&A session? Yes, we have some questions from the viewers. So why don't we go to the Q&A session? And let me read one by one. Or how should I do? If there's anything that you can answer to any of them, you can choose any of them. Okay. Komai. So how is VR going to change the music industry? Oh yes, music industry. Actually, my recent work yesterday, which I put out, there is a high possibility that it will turn into VR. It's an image of live concert. I did the live concert in Yakushima Island, and it's called Yakushima Treasure. And I did a live concert and played 2 pieces. And usually, we take the image from several cameras and edit them. But this time, we scanned during the live concert 360 degrees. We scanned the entire space, and then after that, the director created film. He cut out and did the editing. He created some film frames. And what we are showing right now, well, there is a frame, but the original data doesn't have any frame, 360 degrees. So if there are more head mounts, probably I can show the original one. And if we can do the exhibition, that's what I want to do. So I think the music industry can try to get closer. I think there is a lot of possibility or potentiality for the music industry to utilize the VR. Probably they can be augmented. The MR Live seems to be increasing these days. Binaural is very popular too.
360 degrees, getting the sound, capturing it, and having this surround sound. Music is evolving too, so I think we're probably going to grow and evolve together. Yes, VR is still evolving. In the future, music may change. Not just VR, but AR, MR as well. It's going to be more interesting. Let's have one more question. Okay. So VR movies, what about this one? I've never experienced VR movies, and I think they're probably going to grow in the future. What kind of works do you think will increase? And what kind of works do you want to see, or what kind of works do you want to produce? So who's going to answer? Who's going to start? Kom Ai-san, would you like to start? What kind of works would you like to see in the future? What do I want to see? Personally, I want to create a work as well. Earlier on, you were talking about something, an artwork, like performance art, something like that. For example, a member of the audience. Let's say there's an audience, then there'd be lots of members of the audience, and lots of people would be watching me, and I'd be doing something. That's how it usually goes. But in the case of VR, in that space, there may be no one else, but it's still viable. And each person is going to watch alone. And in that world, that person can exist, or that person might not exist at all. So me, alone, or me, just watching that sole member of the audience, that's another way of doing it. So using that kind of perspective, that might be interesting. Yes, next year, Kom Ai-san, you're going to be competing. I'm looking forward to your applying and competing next year. It's difficult to imagine. Last year, or the year before that, when I went to Venice, pretty much, I thought works like this are VR works. Yes, that's what I expected. But every year, there's something that amazes me. They keep on appearing. So in a few years' time, there are going to be new creators coming up with amazing works for the next few years. And in Japan, I want the creators in Japan to really work hard, and we want to work hard as well. And we're probably going to improve each other through friendly competition. And Kom Ai-san, maybe you can join in. And people who have come from the world of VR, being able to enjoy at low cost. So, Todoki-san, what do you think? Yes? So Byport is one of our supporters. Yes, and Live Cosmos as well. We're seeing a lot of those out there in the world. Right. Okay, we managed to sum that up very well. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's about time to end, I think. So from Todoki Yuka, the official navigator of Beyond the Frame Festival, I'd like to give you some more basic information. And the Japan's first ever international film festival that's dedicated to VR movies, Beyond the Frame Festival, will be held for 10 days until Sunday the 21st. And as the ambassador, with us today, we have Ms. Kom Ai, she's the ambassador, and 3 works will be awarded. And the judges are Shion Sono, and also Eli Omiya, and brand consultant, and president of Speedy, Atsushi Fukuda. So that's a very glamorous lineup. And Todoki Yuka, as a resident of the virtual world, will try to support evolution in the world of VR and all the events of this film festival. Please send in your thoughts after watching on SNS. If you could do that, that would be great. And please use hashtag BTFFJP or hashtag VRFilm. And if you want to know more about the film festival, please look at the Beyond the Frame Festival official site. And lastly, from Kom Ai-san and Machiba-san, could we please have some closing comments? Machiba-san, please. As I said at the beginning, from light users to people who know VR very, very well, I think this is a film festival that can be enjoyed by everyone. And we hope that this is going to help VR penetration. And we want to continue this event for a long, long time. From all over the world, we're hearing a lot, we're getting a lot of proposals. In the future, we hope to continue this film festival. And after COVID-19 settles down, maybe offline, we're going to have this online as well, but in addition to that, maybe we could have it offline in a real venue to try to increase this momentum for VR film. Yes, thank you. And Kom Ai-san, please. VR film. Being able to come into contact with VR film has made me very, very happy. And going forward, I look forward to a lot more works appearing. As a fan, that's something I'm looking forward to. And the people who produce the VR films, the people who watch the VR films, we're going to gather together. And I do hope that at this film festival, we'll see a lot of discussion, and that will lead to the future. Thank you. And Kom Ai-san, on the final day, you'll be appearing in the talk event. Yes, that's correct. I'll be here on the final day. Yes, see you again then. Okay, thank you very much to both of you. And from me too. Maybe I should say something to close things off. Me too. I've seen lots of VR films, and being able to take part in this event is really great. And of course, everyone taking part. In the future, VR is an area that is going to grow. And in Japan, at this film festival, at the first ever film festival, being able to take part is something, a fond memory that we can be proud of in the future. So with this Zoom webinar in our hearts, I hope you'll be able to go home. Going forward, how will this film festival evolve? I'm sure it's going to grow and develop, and let's live the future together. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And we have lots more talk events from tomorrow as well. So please do drop in. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you.